Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Gregory Contracting and Excavating Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton with the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights. As always, I'm here with Black Knights head coach Billy Kaylor. Coach, how are we doing this evening?
Doing okay.
Monday, start of the week. How was the first day of practice?
Not a bad day of practice. Got a lot of teaching in, so the kids were fairly focused, so I was happy with it.
Got a day off between game days on Saturday and then practice here on Monday. A little bit of a short week, another weird week. I wish we'd get rid of these weird weeks throughout high school football in Northeast Tennessee, where weather seems to either cancel or postpone a lot of things. But you ended up playing on Saturday morning. A weird occurrence where the game got canceled on Friday night, so you moved it to the morning to avoid the weather that was going to come later in the afternoon on Saturday too. You were able to get it in. Didn't fare how you wanted it to. You're on the losing side of things, 34-20 to South Greene. Talk about that game and take me through that experience in your first county rivalry game, or your second county rivalry game.
Well, it was weird Friday night. We really wanted to try to get it in Friday night, but I don't think we could have started play until probably midnight.
Yeah.
So we had to push it. I thought we played hard. We beat ourselves. Take nothing away from South Greene. They're a very good football team. They played well. But we had, I think, 3 turnovers and 16 or some penalties, and it's hard to beat good football teams when you kill yourself like that.
And I was going to talk about those turnovers too, because the turnover battle a lot of times is what wins you football games too. And with those 3 turnovers, is that something that you're going to try to work on and clean up moving forward too?
Absolutely. All fixable mistakes. Nothing. All 3 of those situations are self-inflicted. We just didn't do our jobs and screwed the football in those situations, so they're very fixable. Hated for the kids. They played really, really hard. We just made too many mistakes. When you play good football teams, the margin for error is so slim. It's kind of a testament to how hard we played. That even with all those mistakes, we're down a touchdown with the ball with almost 5 minutes left. Got a chance to push it down the field. We just couldn't quite finish.
And it was a great game to be a part of, too. It was a really close game throughout. You had that fumble late into the game within 2 minutes that allowed it to be a 2-possession game. But for the longest time, it was either 1 or 2 possessions. You ended up tying the game in the first half. Very, very competitive first half, 7-7 going into halftime. I think both offenses made adjustments to the defenses. Both offenses got rolling in the second half, too. I don't know if everybody was able to wake up since it was early on Saturday morning, or if you made adjustments in the locker room. But talk about the change going from the first to second half.
What really hurt us in the second half is we had 1 snap offense in the third quarter. Of course, they do a good job running the football, and we made some mistakes early in the third quarter to kind of extend their drives. The big story of the night for us defensively was we continued to have penalties that extended drives for them, and it's just hard to play that much defense against a good offense and keep them out of the end zone. We got away with it a few weeks ago at Granger. We didn't Saturday, and that's just the way high school football breaks sometimes. We made too many mistakes to beat a good football team.
And you look at their stats and you see 34 points and you see 385 yards of total offense, but that really doesn't do the justice of how well the defense played on Saturday morning also.
No, they played a lot of football and hemmed up a really, for a large part, hemmed up a really explosive offense. Now, they did some good stuff. They ran a little reverse a couple times. They gave us quads a few times and some things we hadn't really seen. And so they certainly were well schemed and well coached and did some good stuff. But our kids played really, really hard. It wasn't hot, but it was really thick. So when you play that much defense, it's that muggy. Those guys play that many snaps back to back. They start to get tired. When you start to get tired, you start to make mental errors. And when you make mental errors, other teams capitalize.
The one thing I was most impressed with is I've been able to watch all of South Greene's games so far this year. The 2 wins that they had against Crockett and against Gap, they won by basically exploding on offense. They were able to get those big plays into the end zone. They didn't have the ball a whole lot on offense, but they were able to get those big strikes into the end zone to help them out. Your defense really didn't allow that any. I can't remember many huge explosive plays that they had. They had a few go down the field, but they really didn't have any 30, 40, 50-yard plays that really put you guys behind the 8 ball a lot. It was a lot of those small plays, and credit to your defense for really scheming them up and being on top of things at all times.
Yeah, we played well. Like I said, we played hard. What we did was, they're a good football team. They run the ball well, and but when you play against a good football team, that little arm tackle that works sometimes now turns into a 6-yard gain. It takes a 3-yard gain to a 6-yard gain because they may drag you 3 yards. And as we got tired, those things started to happen more. And I mean, again, take nothing away from them. They're certainly a good football team. You drop them in our region, and they're competing for a playoff spot without a doubt. They're probably, they're up there. They're up there with anybody in our region in terms of winning it. So, play good football teams. You got to play clean. We didn't.
And the offense, too, really got going. You had a really good game from Isaiah Treadway and Brazen Mervin.
Yep.
Brazen had 138 yards before he had to sit out for the remaining, I think, did he get injured in the third quarter? The fourth quarter I knew was when he sat out.
Yeah, I believe he got early in the fourth he got hurt.
So early in the fourth, so he had to sit out the rest of that game. Yeah. You moved Brock to running back there, and you moved the offense around a little bit. Did that kind of limit you all on offense a little bit, not having Brazen in the game and not having everybody in their normal positions?
Well, just from the standpoint of what reps has Brock's gotten there, yes. Not in terms of ability. Certainly Brazen's a great player. Brock's explosive in his own right. But he just hadn't had the repetitions there at running back. So, it throws you for a wrench a little bit. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We had some flashes of doing some really good things offensively. We also started ourselves behind the 8 ball quite a bit. A couple of snap infractions, some holding calls. High school football, you get behind the schedule there, behind the chains, and it's hard to battle back consistently. You can get away with it once or twice. We had to do it a lot, and it makes you less effective for sure.
You talked about only having one offensive play in the third quarter. It's amazing how you can have one offensive play in the third quarter and you can still find a way to score. But when you have a player like Brock Rush that can bust it up the field at any moment and find a hole, that's always possible. And you saw that with that 82-yard kick return also.
Absolutely.
Didn't think it was going to be a touchdown because of the flag on the field, but they wiped that away, and you ended up getting a touchdown when you needed it right after they scored to take a 14-7 lead.
Yeah, I mean, he's so explosive.
He is.
We're blessed, in the sense that, him, Brayson, Isaiah, anytime the ball gets in their hands, something special could happen. I hope people keep kicking to him because he's explosive with the ball in his hands. Like I said, it's hard to watch a film. You want to lose and you want to be mad, but at the same time, God, kids played their guts out. You don't watch that film, and I'd rather watch the film and be upset with our mistakes than be upset with their effort. And I wasn't upset with their effort.
And parlaying off of that a little bit, it's so hard to adjust to that type of setting too. When you expect to play Friday night, you wake up ready to play, you walk into the field house ready to play, you don't expect the weather to cancel the game, and then that happens. Then you have to go home, go straight to bed, wake up early, and then play a game of football at 10 a.m. when it's a little humid outside.
Yeah.
The dew is still on the field. That's something you're probably not used to also, where you're playing on a wet field that doesn't involve rain. So I assume just as hard as it was for you to coach on a Saturday morning, it was hard for them to wake up and play on a Saturday morning too.
Absolutely. And, all that stuff plays into the game of football and getting those kids ready. And, I mean, I went through this, in college when, I played high school, obviously, and you play on Friday nights, and then I went to a 1AA school and play a lot of noon kickoffs, and all of a sudden you're getting up at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning to get ready to play a football game, and it's a hard feeling to adjust to. Even at that level, it's certainly harder when you are expecting to play Friday night. But, both teams had to overcome that. So it's just one more cog in the wheel of what it takes to win a football game. It's a lot. It's a lot. That's just one piece of it.
Going back to kind of what we talked about explosive plays, your defense was able to limit those from South Greene. You were the team that kind of had those explosive plays a lot. Yep. You had the 82-yard kickoff return from Brock Rush, and then you had 2 great deep balls to Isaiah Treadway. Yep. Nick Palazzo gave him 2 incredible balls in the back of the end zone. Toe tap on the sideline, I believe, right down here on this side in the first half.
Yep.
And then he got one in the back corner of the end zone here in the second half. 2 great plays by them. Were those 2 design throws to him, or did Nick just see him streaking down the field and liked his matchup?
No, I'm designed to give him a shot. He's an incredible athlete. He's a tall, long kid anyway, and he's a state qualifier and a high jumper. We probably haven't done as good a job as we should have earlier in the season and giving him those opportunities to go up and catch the football. Because there's not a lot of kids in high school football who can leap like he can. So I was glad to see him take advantage of those. Nick gave him 2 good balls there. So, You're happy with those explosive plays. There's a lot to be happy with in the way we played. Just the outcome wasn't quite what we wanted.
And it was a fun game to watch. And like you said, you played a great game.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were lagging behind. You weren't sleepy. You weren't tired. There weren't a lot of things that you could be mad at. There's just some things that you could fix overall. But still a fun game overall to watch.
Yeah,
it was weird to come down here to Lower Afton and watch a game on Saturday morning. Usually you wake up early and it's maybe like a baseball, softball tournament. Sometimes you play some all-day soccer tournaments or go inside of a basketball gym. You never come out and expect to watch a 10 a.m. football game unless it's like Pee Wee's or something like that.
Yeah,
so
it was
watching
weird.
Maybe the first Saturday morning high school game I've ever been a part of. I've done Saturday night games before or witnessed one, but I don't think I've ever witnessed a Saturday morning. And it might be the only Saturday morning too, but
I played one in the lower state of South Carolina on the first game of the year at noon on a Saturday, and it was about 114 degrees.
Wow. South Carolina also, I could see that.
It was a bad day, boy.
I could see that. It was probably muggy and humid out there too.
Understatement. Yeah,
yes.
You could have cut it with a knife. It was bad.
Because unless you've been to parts like that, like a lot of people that have been to Texas, it's more of a dry heat. It's still hot, but it's a dry heat. You go down to South Carolina and Georgia, it's just muggy. You get sticky as soon as you step out of the car, step off of the bus, and it is like that the whole entire day. No amount of breeze or wind can fix that humidity.
It's 100-something. I told people here this year, if this is what a bad summer's like in East Tennessee, buddy, we got it made. Because this ain't nothing to what I'm used to. So
are you just from the lower part of South Carolina?
I've lived all over South Carolina, but even in the upstate where we lived, it's a lot. There was, I think, a 9-degree temperature difference from here to there today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is true. It is like that a lot of days too.
Yeah.
But good news is, well, we'll say good news at the moment. Hopefully the good news is you won't have to play any more Saturday games the rest of the year.
We're going to cross our fingers.
You have played a Friday night game, a Saturday night game, and a Thursday night game in 4 games this year. I don't know. Have you ever done that?
No.
Not even in college?
Nope. I've played Thursdays and Saturdays in college and played one Saturday in high school. I've never done all 3 in a season, certainly not all 3 in the first 4 games.
Wow.
So a little rhythm would be nice, I'll tell you.
And then we've got a Monday night game going on tonight at North Greene. So it's been crazy. There's teams like North Greene too that are going to play Monday, Friday,
I take that back.
and Thursday.
I've done a Friday, Monday, Friday during COVID. We did that.
Yeah, I was going to say COVID was a weird year.
We played 3 games in 8 days or 9 days or whatever, and that was weird too.
2020 was just a weird year all around. I remember the NFL.
We just watched that, not even talk about it.
Exactly. There was a game every single day of the week that year.
Yeah.
In the NFL. That was so weird. You had a Wednesday night football game one time. You never have Wednesday night anything games.
No. I'd rather not have it anymore too if we can help it.
Yeah. So I think that's all we've got on the recap. Hopefully no more weird weeks like this, but weather permitting, we have no clue what the weather's going to look like.
That's right.
So,
God willing.
Yeah. So your first tenure here at Chuckey-Doak starting out really weird. Hopefully we can kind of get things under control. It'll be Friday night games the rest of the year until that GP game at the end.
That's right.
But that's all we've got on the recap. We'll go ahead and jump into the next part. Got a tough game this week, moving into regional action.
Sure do.
So we'll go ahead and preview that in just a minute here on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn's new Right Way Buffet is open and ready for you and your family. Now with new garlic buttery crust and stuffed crust pizza, along with salads and desserts. It's the best part of your day. The all-day, everyday buffet. Only at Pizza Inn Greenville.
Tommy's Plumbing has provided professional plumbing services to the residents of Greenville, Tennessee for over 30 years. Our experience and reputation have helped us grow our business to add locations in Jonesboro, Tennessee. Tommy's Plumbing is local and family owned, and we offer a full line of plumbing services, such as kitchen faucet, shower faucets, commodes, and bathroom faucets, as well as drain cleaning. We also provide outside plumbing work, such as septic and sewer drain cleanouts, as well as repair and replace. Tommy's Plumbing pretty much does it all. Tommy's Plumbing is licensed, bonded, and insured. Our quality workmanship and passion to provide our clients with expert service is second to none. We guarantee we have the best warranty around. For all your plumbing needs, give Tommy's a call at 638-3662.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Gregory Excavating and Contracting Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything on the black hole with the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights. As always, I'm here with Black Knights head coach Billy Kaylor. So you get into the games that are more meaningful now.
That's right.
You've got Pigeon Forge coming up. You travel on the road to face Pigeon Forge this week.
Yep.
First regional game of the season. What's your expectations going into this game?
It'll be interesting. We talked about not having weird games, but we're driving down to Pigeon Forge during the Rod and Run weekend, so that'll be interesting. I'm sure traffic will be delightful. But they're a good football team. They're extremely well coached. They've had a little bit of struggle here and there this year, but they're a really good football team. We got to play well. I think we match up well in lines of scrimmage, and with what they do, you got to kind of command the line of scrimmage, be really disciplined on defense. So I look forward to seeing how we match up offensively. I think we have a chance to do some things that are interesting. But it'll be nice to – you hear a lot more about these county teams because they're so close. It'd be nice to kind of experience some of this regional play that I haven't really been a part of because I haven't been around East Tennessee. So I'm looking forward to it.
Talking about some of those things that you like to do offensively, what do you expect to look at whenever you line up on offense? What do you expect their defense to throw at you?
I think they're a true 3-4, and I think they're going to play that. They're one of those teams that at least seem to be. Now they could, prove me dead wrong, but seem one of those teams who are really well coached and really good at what they do, and they're gonna make you beat them doing what they're best at, which is. Sometimes good and bad. You feel like you can kind of get a beat on what's going on, but at the same time, if you're confident enough to just play your stuff, then you're pretty good at it. You'd almost rather play somebody who's going to try to change a bunch of fronts on you because at some point they're going to be misaligned.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a spot to pick. These guys aren't. They're going to be sound. They're going to play really well. They're really good in the box. Those front seven are really talented. So I think it'll be a good test for us.
And I'm not as familiar with Pigeon Forge as well as a lot of people throughout this region too, because like you said, it's kind of an out-of-county game where a lot of teams in the county don't play them a lot. Mm-hmm. You're in the same region now, but in years past it was the opposite region that you would only see come playoff time. They did travel down here to play West Greene during the playoffs last year. I don't think they had played another county team in the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm not as familiar with them. I don't know what sets they run. So tell us what you'll see when you line up on defense too. What offensive sets and schemes are they going to throw out at you?
They're going to throw out about 48 different formations. they formation a lot, and they run a lot of wing tee concepts out of different formations. But they're, like I said, they're very well coached. Everything is crisp and clean. They're really aggressive, and they're physical up front. They know what they do, and they're good at what they do. So they've made some quarterback changes, I think, last week, so that's kind of opened their offense up a little bit. I'll be very curious to see how we react to what they do, because they certainly give you enough eye candy. If you're not disciplined, they'll get you off your game.
You're going into your first region game this weekend. The good news is it's in your 5th week of the season.
Yep.
So it's not like you're starting in week 2 where you have 1 week to prepare and then you go in and you might not be prepared and not play well that first week, and it can be a bit nerve-wracking. You're playing your first region game going into week 5. How do you feel about your team's chemistry through the first 4 games of the season, entering the games that matter more?
I think it's been pretty good. I think you hate to lose, but at the same time, it gives you an opportunity to kind of see what you're made of and what you guys are going to do. I think this maybe is an opportunity for us to kind of bond together and say, okay, we have 2 options here, that we fold up and we complain, or we kind of buckle down and this is the second half of our season essentially. Football really has 4 seasons. You get your off season, your preseason, your non-region, and your region. 5, I guess, you kind of playoffs, and this is kind of that region season where those games start to matter in terms of playoff implications. So I think we've got an opportunity to kind of band together and tighten down the ship a little bit, and I think they want to do that. These kids, to their credit, they haven't lost a lot in their high school career, so they don't like it very much, and I'm okay with that.
It's good to lose every now and then, though. That's a good thing, because you don't want to lose, but at the same time, you've kind of got to experience that feeling and know how to overcome it. Because a lot of times, those teams that are undefeated and then they go into the playoffs, they don't know how to, you don't want to lose because your season will end at that point, but you really don't know how to deal with that adversity if you get caught behind. If you're up and leading throughout every single game of the season, you don't really know what to do if you get caught behind. So you kind of need those moments where not necessarily lose, but those games where you get caught behind too. So that could be a good thing in a sense, in a way.
Yeah, it's a galvanizing thing. You kind of bring everybody together a little bit, and And I think our kids have buckled down, and I think they want to. I don't think they're very happy with the way they felt after that game, and that's where you want them. You know, if they don't care about losing, you got issues, and they cared. So I think we got a chance to kind of galvanize, turn the ship a little bit, and hopefully get a big region win.
And going into that game, hoping to get a big region win also, what are the 3 keys that you look at most that you need to carry out in order to be successful?
I think, we have to win the line of scrimmage. They want to run the football, and they are effective at it. So we got to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We have to clean up our turnovers and our penalties. Too many unforced errors on Saturday, and we've had more of those this season than you'd like, especially to be 3-1, and if you look at our penalty numbers, they're pretty high. So clean up our game, play a clean football game, take care of the football. We've been positive in the turnover margin every week except for last week. We were -3 in the turnover margin, and we lost football games. So get back on the plus side of that turnover margin and win the line of scrimmage.
And another key, leave a little bit early to avoid that traffic with the rod runs.
Lord, yeah. Hopefully it won't be too bad.
Hopefully it won't be either. That'll be Friday, so maybe. I've never been to rod runs, but assuming the time that you'd have to leave and travel up there too, that might be the time that
we're going to try to scoot out a little bit early and see if we can get ahead of some of them.
I would too. I'd scoot out of there maybe as soon as school ended. I'm not in charge. I know Kyle's probably in charge of all that. Kyle's great at handling situations like that, so I assume he'll have everything under control too, but you do not want to get stuck in that traffic.
My luck, we'll hit a wreck. We'll be in traffic for 4 hours. It'll go from 75 to 98. We'll be on the bus with no air conditioner. Just one more thing to battle.
Yep. But until then, see you next week. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate
Hope to see you win next week. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Gregory Excavating and Contracting Billy Kaylor Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.